What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, are Callum Wiggins.
Hey there.
And Robert DeFelice.
Hello.
We're talking about Backlash 2023 coming up this Saturday, I believe. Saturday? Yeah, Saturday.
That is the correct day.
The 6th of May. I'm liking these Saturday events. I think that should be the regular thing going forward. It's just so much easier. Of course, the next event that we're going to have after that. Yeah. So we are going to break down the card of what it currently is as far as Tuesday afternoon, around like 1:30 p.m. For anybody that's wondering if they announce anything after the fact. We're going to give our predictions for all the matches, talk about what we are excited about, what we're not excited about, why the hell is Omos against Seth Rollins, and so on and so forth. So as we go along here and we talk about that stuff, we want to know what you have to say. So chime in with your thoughts and your reactions to our thoughts by leaving a comment below on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Spotify or Amazon Music or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, or whatever it is that you're listening to that, then head on over to YouTube or post something on the Facebook page or post something on the page on smarkoutmoment.com or tweet at us or whatever it might be. Just let us know what you're thinking. And if you are on YouTube, then you should be clicking around on all the good stuff that you've got there for options to let us know that you're liking this video. You get that little thanks button, which tosses a little spare change our way. It's one of the best ways, I should say, to help keep the morale up in here, including the join button that's right next to the subscribed button, which if you are not subscribed, hit that button, as well as the little bell icon. Ring that little alert notification icon, because then you can get the email to let you know that we are live for the post show of the Backlash pay-per-view review. The join button, for anybody who's wondering, is the same thing as the Patreon. So if you want to get access to the dark casts, or you want to sponsor a pick your poison option, or if you just want to toss $1 our way per month, then that all is greatly appreciated. And I typically prefer the YouTube channel membership side of things rather than the Patreon, because you can see the video aspects. If we do like a fantasy booking thing or a mock draft or whatever, or maybe even like a fan announce table where you've got the little time code on there. But if you like Patreon better, same kind of deal over there. So whatever you do is greatly appreciated, including if you pick up some merchandise on TeePublic, but not Redbubble, because Redbubble sucks, so screw that people. But, if you want to pick it up there, then go ahead. But all that stuff is awesome. It makes you an even more awesome person. And keep all that in mind as we go along here, as well as the like button. It's completely free. And just hitting that button can go a long way in helping the YouTube algorithm, because the YouTube algorithm really prefers the watch time and all that stuff, but also the like button as well. So yeah, let's start getting into Backlash here. This is a B-level event. It pretty much always is, but sometimes it can be a pretty impactful event if we've got something going on, like, I don't know, say a WWE draft that happens to happen. But the way that this is panning out this year is very much coming off to me as kind of a paid show, in that sense of like, well, we're going to make a lot of money in this Puerto Rico show, so let's throw some filler on there and let's really put like the things that matter the most on Night of Champions. How are you guys feeling about this event going into it?
Honestly, I think that Night of Champions won't be much different than this. This feels to me very similar to a Saudi show, in that the attraction here is where the show will be held. Not, hey, it's Backlash and we've got this great card. The card is okay, but the attraction is, we're in Puerto Rico, we have Bad Bunny. That's the show.
Yeah, I mean, it feels, as someone who has openly said that he's not really watching the product right now, it feels like there's a lot of potential for good matches here. It's just nothing really. I mean, there's 2 matches that stand out to me. The rest of it could blend between like really good and just about average. There's one match here that is just weird, but yeah, other than that, I'm sure it'll be an okay show.
Yeah, it's giving me a lot of vibes of what I'll spoil it when it comes to the articles scheduled for tomorrow morning, but whenever I do my heat index thing for EWN, I always rate it, am I like scorching hot, excited about this? Am I hot? Am I lukewarm? Am I temperate? Am I chilly, cold, freezing, that kind of thing? Give a lot of lukewarms to this because it was like the matches should be fine, if not good, depending on the energy. But I don't get a sense that if you miss this, that you're going to be like, man, I missed a match of the year candidate. And I also feel like nothing at all matters going into this, and nothing is going to matter coming out of it. And it sounds really down about it, but I do think it'll end up being overall an entertaining show. It'll just be a pretty meh, kind of purposeful show in that sense.
What matters is that coming out of it, there's supposed to be a hard brand split, and it will remain to be seen if they stick to that. But that's when everything is going to matter.
I think we've got like 6 examples on this card of how they immediately aren't going to have a hard brand split. One of them being they seem to kind of want to do SmackDown people with the World Heavyweight Championship as well, which is kind of defeating the purpose of the whole that's the Raw Championship. But none of these matches have any influence of that either. They never announced, for instance, on Raw this week, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar is a number 1 contenders match where it's, going to factor into the tournament idea or anything like that. So I am kind of feeling like by the end of this pay-per-view, Sunday is going to come along and then they're going to be planning Monday Night Raw, and Raw is going to be like, all right, well, we got that out of the way. Let's start just doing the next pay-per-view and moving on. Sometimes that's not bad. Sometimes that's the type of thing that you just, not every pay-per-view is the most monumental in history. But then again, I also typically go, kind of like something to happen. And I get a sense that nothing's really going to happen here. But maybe we're wrong. I don't know. So let's start diving into this with the first general idea. We got 7 matches that are announced on this card. Very quickly, just to run them down for anybody that's interested. It's Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins versus Omos, the Raw Women's Championships on the line, the SmackDown Women's Championships on the line, United States titles on the line. There's a San Juan street fight and a 6-man tag team match. They never announced that anything else is kind of being teased for this. And we could get another match announced ahead of time, maybe on SmackDown, but I personally think that this is the end of the card. Do you guys think we're going to get any other matches added?
Nothing springs to mind immediately that needs to be added, but I think this could very well be the end of the card.
I couldn't tell you even if I had any ideas.
Yeah, I mean, Gunther's not got a number 1 contender going on right now. They don't seem to be building towards any kind of like, okay, it's you got to do a match between LA Knight and somebody, or Roman Reigns isn't going to appear on this card. So I think we're getting this 7, and that's about it. But it's about the normal. They usually go with like 7 or 8 range. So let's start diving into the actual matches themselves. Let's start off with the match that I kind of kicked this off with a little bit. Seth Rollins versus Omos. They still haven't given a reason for this match happening except for it's happening. It's just, Omos is going to fight Rollins because MVP negotiated that he would have the match. And Rollins isn't even addressing it. He's like, yeah, man, I really want that World Heavyweight Championship.
Because it doesn't matter. Like, okay, all right, look. I'm not going to repeat this phrase a million times during this podcast, but this one, for real, it doesn't matter.
There's nothing on the line for most of these matches, but this one really seems like it's a scenario where they were like, wouldn't it be interesting if the big guy was on the show? That's the attraction. And we wanted Seth Rollins to be on the show. We don't have anything for him, so problem solved. We just kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, and I mean, the match will be fine.
I don't know about that.
It'll be, when you're tempering expectations here, it'll be fine for an Omos match.
Yeah, it'll be fine when you go into the mindset that it's going to be shit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's what I mean.
That's some good shit, right?
I think we could see Omos win, and I'm not entirely sure if we don't see Omos fight Roman Reigns.
Where's that report coming from? I think it might have been Observer, might have been Inc. or something. I forget. Something about like Vince had suggested somebody against Roman and it was scoffed at. That like the opponent didn't make any sense, which is like, that hasn't stopped you before with booking.
I had seen that, but I think it came from a not so reliable person.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Omos thing wouldn't make any sense outside of just, isn't it interesting if Roman fights Omos or whatever? But, you know, crazier things have happened, and we haven't had anybody whatsoever built towards fighting Roman at Night of Champions. So
I'm gonna talk about that later. I can actually, even right now, mention that why did Paul Heyman come out on Raw last night and cut a wonderful promo about how like Rollins is mad about Roman, and Rollins then followed that up by being like, yeah, cool, go away with your politics. Like, are they fucking building Rollins versus Roman all of a sudden? Like, why is he addressed Roman more than Cody Rhodes?
Mm-hmm. It's really weird. Because, I mean, Rollins is on Raw. I highly doubt that he is going to just suddenly swap over or something. And if we are getting this hard brand split, then they shouldn't go, yeah, but, you know, for an extra little thing, Rollins is going to fight Roman in Saudi Arabia, because then that's going to defeat the purpose of the hard brand split, as well as rule him out of the World Heavyweight Championship situation. So, and they've done crazier things before when it comes to just like backwards logic, and you know, we got 4 people that can switch brands. Even though it's 4 people, that means one person's a tag team, and we'd have 12 people that are, you know, because they could just say fuck the rules and be like, you know, Rollins got screwed out of the World Heavyweight Championship thing, and now he's mad at Roman about it for some reason. I don't know, but they never said, at the very least, that this has any implications for a title match. But it is weird. Rollins been talking more about Roman and the world title, and not at all about Omos.
And the idea that Omos is a free agent is very interesting to me, because I feel like it says he can have a one-off with Roman in Saudi and then just go on Raw or whatever. But I don't know. I assume we'll start to see anything like that forming on Monday, and then the Friday following from returning. But if they want to establish Rollins as the next World Heavyweight Champion, he's going to win here. If they want to get Big Man ready for Roman, we'll get our only sign that that's where they're going if Omos suddenly just wins.
And, you know, that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world either when it comes to the free agent thing that you're talking about. Maybe the reason why Omos is currently listed as a free agent is specifically so he can go over in Saudi, fight Roman, be a part of the Raw roster afterward, and not have to be like, he's drafted to SmackDown, and then we immediately switch him back over to Raw. Could be. But that requires a lot of foresight and thinking ahead that I don't think WWE likes to do. So I am much more leaning towards the direction that Rollins is going to beat Omos here, and that it's a means to give him a big win with a lot of forceful momentum, so that way he can go into that World Heavyweight Championship tournament and be like, yeah, I'm the guy. For the record, I think he's winning that belt. So,
go ahead.
I think that even if Rollins does end up winning the World Championship, which I think is a good possibility, I could still see him losing this match to Omos, because it's not unlike WWE or other wrestling promotions to have a guy lose on the next big show and then have him win the big one afterwards. You know, that whole instead of just having 2 strong people fight each other, why don't we just have a couple of losers who've been losing all their matches going into the pay-per-view just fight each other, and we're supposed to care about that. But
doesn't it give Rollins some adversity to overcome? Yeah. He's not ready to just win the title, right?
Well, I think this match would matter if let's say that you are having several there's easy ways you can add stakes to this match. You can just go have if it's all to be building up for Seth Rollins to win that world championship, then you make it a first round match of that tournament that you're gonna use for this, and you just have Seth Rollins beat Omos. Omos is out of the tournament. You move on. If this is to build up for Omos against Roman Reigns, you make this a number one contendership match for Roman's world title at Night of Champions. So either way, you don't need to say like why are these two fighting each other. Just say okay, we've just decided that it's these two going against each other for that opportunity, which makes no sense in the grand scheme of things because Omos lost to WrestleMania, so he shouldn't even be in a sort of a prominent position anyway. But he's getting negotiated. He's a free agent. I'd put more stock into the free agent thing if like he was one of 2 or 3 people that's free agent rather than like Mustafa Ali and
Von Wagner
Wagner and Zion Quinn. Like they all scream like they're all really big deals in the free agency market.
And for anybody who's wondering, we will address the draft review in full during the hot tag. So we'll talk about how freaking weird it is that Dolph Ziggler is a free agent and so on and so forth.
Don't worry though, everyone. Trish Stratus was drafted to Raw.
So I'd go with Rollins winning just because that's the result that I'd want to see out of these two. I just think this match is going to be super weird, and because it's just going to be Rollins getting his ass kicked and thrown around for 90% of the match, and then he's going to make some sort of comeback and get a stomp and win, or he's going to win by count out or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they have some plan in mind of like an interference or something to start a new feud with Omos or Rollins for that matter, or they could do the type of thing that you're talking about with making this like a number one contenders match or something after the fact, because the WWE tends to do that sometimes too, where you look back with the benefit of hindsight and you go, well, why didn't you just announce this was a number one contenders match instead of having the two people fight and then on Raw afterward going, okay, let's have Rollins cut a promo about how since he beat Omos, he's been granted a bye in the tournament or something, where it would be like, well, shit, you could have announced that ahead of time and then it would have been a more interesting hook to this, but you are valuing explaining something after the fact. Like, well, now that Matt Riddle got the pin in the 6-man tag match, that makes him a number one contender for the Intercontinental title or something, where you'd be like, wait, what? Like, sometimes I guess they plan that stuff in advance. Sometimes they probably don't. And they just look at what happened at the pay-per-view and then they go, maybe we could do something with this and maybe we can spin this out of that. But the Omos and Rollins thing really came out of nowhere for this. I mean, Rollins was against Logan Paul at WrestleMania. He comes out the Raw after Mania and he's just like, hey, remember how you guys like singing my song? Well, how about you do that? I'll see you in a couple weeks. And then they go with the Omos thing after he cuts a promo about the title and everything. So I definitely don't get the sense that they approached this whatsoever with any kind of like storyline ideas or there's ramifications that are going to come out of this or consequences. It really comes off to me more like, let's put Omos on the Puerto Rico card. Let's put Rollins on the Puerto Rico card. We don't have anybody else for them to go up against. And, well, we haven't seen that match, so why don't we just do that match? We don't need to build it for any reason. It's big guy. Big guy wrestling. Don't you like big guy? And then I go, hey, where's Babatunde? Because he's big guy. So I'm going to go Rollins here. I think that at the end of the day, what's Omos really turned into? He gets built up as this unstoppable force that nobody could possibly beat, and then people beat him. Bobby Lashley beat him, Brock Lesnar beat him. I think Rollins is going to be the next in line for that. It seems like Rob is going a little bit more towards maybe that Omos comes out of this with a Roman thing on there. Are you leaning more towards Rollins or more towards Omos, Callum?
I'd say I'll just go with Rollins just because I think he's the guy that actually has upside out of the two of them.
Yeah, I will reiterate that as well. Rollins, and if it's Omos, we know that they have something in store for him.
Yeah, I mean, if Omos wins this, then I'm going to start to really buy into your theory about that Roman match. Well, this is the most like random, inconsequential match on the card, but we've got the United States Championship is on the line in a triple threat match. Austin Theory drafted over to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley drafted over to SmackDown. Bronson Reed currently a Raw superstar.
And that not winning the United States title.
That, yep, exactly points out Bronson Reed has no chance of winning this match because Gunther is a Raw superstar. He is bringing the Intercontinental Championship over with him, and unless there's something that happens on SmackDown this week where he drops that belt to a SmackDown person, which I highly, highly doubt for a million different reasons. One of them being nothing's been announced. One of them being nobody is a viable contender to do that. And the other one being kind of seems like Gunther is somebody that they want to potentially break that Honky Tonk Man record, which is only September, if I remember correctly. Then I am fully going into this going, all right, either Theory retains or Lashley wins the belt. And prior to the Monday Night Raw half of the draft, I was thinking, oh man, there's a good chance that Lashley wins this because he was the only one at that point who was a part of SmackDown. And for a little while, I was thinking Lashley would win this belt to offset Roman because, look, we're going to be saying this for the next year, if not more. The World Heavyweight title was created because they are flat out saying to us, Roman ain't dropping that fucking belt anytime soon, guys. And he's not going to defend it all that much to begin with. So we don't want to have him split between the shows. And we really want to have a championship we could do something with. So here's a new belt. And for the next year plus, potentially, just wait for Roman to beat 3 guys. That's basically what it is. So you're going to need to have the United States title step up and to be in the position that the Intercontinental title was, which for a long while there, for I think it was like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years or something, the IC title wasn't defended on pay-per-views. It was only defended on SmackDown because that was like, let's give them something and, you know, whatever. I think the United States title is going to fill that void quite a bit. And I was thinking originally Lashley was going to be that defending champion that's always going to have that belt as like the most prominent thing. But then Theory got drafted over to SmackDown. And the current lineup, which we will address again on the hot tags, SmackDown doesn't have a lot of viable baby faces. If you take out AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley, you really don't have people for Roman to feud with. Then you're down to like the 4th highest ranked babyface is like Butch. Now, I love Butch. He's great.
Well, you skipped right over Sheamus.
Well, I'm talking like Sheamus would probably be my number 3.
Okay.
You know, I mean, technically you have Ray, technically you have Santos, like, you know, but for the most part, AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley are the 2 that are standing out as like, okay, you 2 are going to fight Roman at some point. Which makes me think, okay, then Bobby Lashley, maybe he doesn't win that United States title because he's got to stick around that whenever we want to pull the trigger on him against Roman, we got to be ready for that. And if you're holding the United States title, then you're going to be feuding with Karrion Kross. You're going to be continuing with Austin Theory, I'm assuming, maybe LA Knight. I buy more.
You can drop it to Solo.
He could. And maybe that could be one of their ways to keep the Bloodline in there. But I do think that we're still going to get the Bloodline running the show. It's just that they're going to be feuding with whoever's feuding with Roman. So, for instance, AJ Styles has Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Well, whenever they want to pull the trigger on AJ against Roman, maybe it's SummerSlam, I think we're just going to get a lot of like Styles against Sikoa, Styles and Gallows and Anderson against Sikoa and Jimmy and Jay, Jimmy against Styles. This one, Sikoa is going to beat Carl Anderson, so on and so forth. So I don't anticipate United States titles heading towards Sikoa. I think it's going to be hovering more around LA Knight, Austin Theory. Maybe somebody like a Montez Ford gets in the mix at some point, but I'm going to stick with Theory holding the belt. I think that Bobby's going to do something to Bronson, and Theory is going to pin Bronson.
I'm going to say Theory. I'm going to say Theory drops it to Lashley, because I think you do need a fighting champion right now. And I think Lashley can be a good balance to Roman. Theory needs a complete reboot anyway. You know, he got picked first overall on second night, but he still needs a fresh reboot.
Oh, wasn't Rhea?
Well, I meant for the SmackDown side.
Oh.
Rhea went first, and then Theory.
Yeah, then it was Theory. One of those draft picks where it's like, yeah, it makes sense that you would want to grab those champions.
Yeah, that was actually a logical pick. But I think Lashley, it gives the excitement of new champion, and you know where the belt is going. I don't see them trying to make Gunther face a SmackDown superstar just to create tension. So I think Lashley wins it here, and Bronson will likely take the pin because he's the most obvious choice for a loser.
I guess in an ideal world, I'd want Lashley to win, just because he's the most interesting of the three options. When you obviously rule out the fact that Bronson he can't win because he's on the wrong brand, and Theory's, again, this latest run as United States champion has been completely bland, and he and it hasn't. His victory over Cena, that big magical win at WrestleMania, hasn't done anything to change that point of view.
It might as well never have happened.
You know what's funny? He was, I don't remember if this was on Raw Talk or if this maybe popped up on Raw itself, but he was interviewed. Pretty sure it was Raw Talk, and he's like, "Yeah, of course I'm like the best United States champion of all time, whatever. Look at all the legends that I've beaten recently." It's like, Cena? And
I think he also talked about he defended the title against Ray.
That's right.
And Edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Edge, as well. Yeah.
All right, credit. I forgot about them, so they're not too off.
Oh yeah, of course you forgot about them because it's Theory who's the guys beating them. So of course,
and they didn't matter whatsoever. And it was just sort of like, oh, Edge is going to fight him for the belt, and you're like, what? Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, Rob's already mentioned it, but the fact that after his previous reboot, where we all said, "Oh, we like this new direction he's going in," where he's a bit more angry and aggressive after that failed cash-in, we're now in the mindset of, "Oh, okay, he needs another reboot." Mm-hmm. When you get to that stage, you're in like Corbin territory, where you're just thinking about, "Okay, this guy needs a new gimmick, something else attached to him to make it work," and you just come up with something, and then you almost reset down to default a couple of months afterwards, and you almost start thinking, okay, we need another new gimmick for this guy. Whereas my mindset at that point would be, maybe it's just time to give up, or see what else, or try someone else in that position and drop him further down the card. But
would have been good for King of the Ring as a reboot, I think.
No, it would have been obnoxious. They would have went too hard on the King stuff for him. I think it would have been obnoxious.
I mean, as I say, that's a perfect position for him because like the person who wins King of the Ring almost invariably goes to the lower mid card, so that's probably where he should be.
Fair enough.
So I would want Lashley to win. I think Theory will probably just sneak a victory in this one with the two. Like you get the two monsters destroy each other, and he just picks the bones.
Mm-hmm.
So my official prediction would be Theory, but I hope it's Lashley instead. Not that this result is going to convince me to watch one way or the other, but still.
Well, I hope it's Lashley because I don't want to see Theory versus Rick Boogs, the United States title. I want to see matches that matter.
SmackDown's in a really bad spot with like potential longevity. They
literally said, "All right, you got the Bloodline. That's all you need."
We got the Bloodline, and you got a couple stables for the baby faces. Yeah. And I mean, we do have people like Cameron Grimes and Grayson Waller, and there's a variety option there when it comes to like, if Lashley wins, he could drop it to Waller. If Theory ends up feuding with maybe like a babyface LA Knight, if they want to turn him, there's going to be some matches down the line that are going to be fun for some of these different people. It's just, hey, I mean, I think by the time we get to like September, we're going to be like, shit, they went through all of them. And then we're going to have a couple more months of, man, when's that draft coming back around? So yeah, I'm not really thinking that this is going to set up the best championship reign going forward for if it is Bobby Lashley or if it's continuing with Theory, but push comes to shove, I think the easy pick for me is just to keep it on Theory. So that's my ultimate pick here.
I'm going with Lashley.
Yeah, so I'll go with Theory, get the victory.
You want to go with Rhea just to be different?
I'm not that well. As we'll talk about on Friday, this brand split doesn't matter, but it's like in somebody's mind, this will matter to them. So
yeah,
go that far.
Well, two matches that sound like they should matter, and realistically, they should be two of the most important matches, if not like main event caliber, and all these other things that should go along with this. But we know damn well they do not matter. Are the Raw Women's Championship match, which is Bianca Belair defending against Io Sky, and the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is Rhea Ripley defending against Zelina Vega. Now, I say these don't matter, not because of any kind of, I don't like the women's division or anything. So anybody's wondering about that, no, that's not exactly what I'm coming from. I'm coming from the angle from WWE completely spoiled the outcome for this. We talked about Bronson Reed not being able to win the United States title because he's a Monday Night Raw superstar. Well, Zelina Vega is on the opposite brand of Rhea Ripley. And I saw somebody, I'm sure there's plenty of other people as well, but somebody on Twitter was like, oh man, so this means that Io Sky is going to beat Bianca and Zelina is going to beat Rhea, and that way they're going to swap the titles that way? And I'm like, no.
Who said that?
Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I tweeted back at them and I was like, hey, I was like, hey, just so you know, Io is on the same brand as Bianca, so that can't work. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. So some people are really just like forgetting how that's working out, but Bianca and Io are SmackDown stars now, fighting for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea is a Raw superstar holding the SmackDown title, going up against a SmackDown star in Zelina. If it wasn't obvious already, just because of the fact that it's Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, and they're up against Io Sky and Zelina Vega, Zelina has no chance of beating Rhea Ripley. She never did, even if there wasn't this whole brand split thing. But she is in this match because she can wrestle in Puerto Rico, and she can get a lot of heat from when she loses, and Rhea Ripley is going to look like a real, nasty heel by beating her. And it's just a means to continue that LWO against the Judgment Day feud and all. Logically, it makes sense outside of the fact that what did Zelina do to technically become number one contender, and how is she going to put up a fight against somebody that's twice her size and all. Io and Bianca, I mean, they've had a million matches together, and this damage control thing is probably going to continue because they're both in the same brand and all. But the story isn't even that Io is going to beat Bianca, because she clearly isn't going to. The story is that Io is going to split away from the damage control. So, yeah, Rhea Ripley is going to retain the SmackDown title. Bianca is going to retain the Raw title. And then on Monday Night Raw, if they don't do it on the pay-per-view itself, I'm assuming they're going to do it on Raw to milk the segment. They're going to just do a title swap, and they're going to have Bianca and Rhea stand across the ring from each other, trade the belt either to each other or to Adam Pearce. And they're going to go like, okay, well, now Bianca is the SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea is the Raw Women's Champion. That's it.
So I don't think the belts will be changing hands. However, if there was ever a time to beat Bianca, it's right now anyway. She's losing the belt. She's losing the 400-day reign. Anyway, if you want to make Io seem like a bigger deal and better than Bayley because she got the job done, you could have Io Sky beat Bianca Belair.
And that's not the absolute craziest thing. I was looking at the roster before for last night when I was redoing it, and Bianca and Charlotte are on the same brand. And there's a very good chance that Charlotte's the one that beats Bianca. But there's also a really good chance Io beats Bianca, Charlotte beats Io, Bianca beats Charlotte. So we could be looking at something like that.
Maybe. I mean, like, I ultimately think Bianca and Rhea will win because the money in the swap is having them tear down. But I think Io stands much more of a chance than Zelina Vega does. Zelina Vega, by the way, legitimately is just getting this match in storyline because she said, Adam, I have to fight Rhea. I'm the only Puerto Rican on the roster. I need to fight in Puerto Rico. Like, what is that even? Like, really? You can just get a title shot because you're like, hey, that's going to be in my home. Like, I should be there. That's right. That's like saying, Mansoor is going to just
appear on Saudi Arabia shows like he did.
Yeah, he's going to go up to Roman and be like, yep, I get to fight you because we're going to Saudi. Like, what? No, but I think Bianca and Rhea retain. Bianca and Io should be fun. Hopefully the crowd is hot for Zelina. Nobody expects Zelina to win. But actually, honestly, if they wanted to, Zelina wins. And then she's just... No, fuck, because Zelina's on SmackDown. No, damn it really doesn't work either way. Okay, Rhea has to win. And then it doesn't matter. Okay, like, so I'll say Bianca and Rhea.
Yeah, so Rhea's going to beat Zelina Vega. That's pretty the one that's got no doubt about it because, as Rob has pointed out, Zelina's only in this match because she was born in the place where they're holding the pay-per-view. She's only had one singles win, I think, in about a year or so.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah, well, probably since she won Queen of the Ring, probably. And so it doesn't make any sense that she would be fighting for this on a pure, like, in-ring qualification. Yeah, on any sort of merit. So Rhea's going to win that one fairly comfortably, but Zelina will get a few hope spots and probably have the crowd behind her. Bianca versus Io is the one that's more interesting because there is something that you can do with Io being champion, and she's a good choice to be like a world champion of a brand. But we know that she has the in-ring ability. We know that Triple H trusts her because of the length of time that she was world champion in NXT. But I don't see them breaking up the Bianca reign right now. And realistically, the objective of this is to have Bayley do something that inadvertently costs Io Sky the match, and then that leads to the breakdown of Damage Control. So I think that's probably the route that they'll go down because it's probably more simplistic than having Io win. And you know, you could tell a decent long-term story off the back of that, of Bayley being jealous of Io and that being the breakdown of it. I still, in my mindset, I think that Bayley will come out. This is the baby face one way or another. So I think it's more likely that Bayley makes a mistake, doesn't try and have Io lose the title, but it ends up Io does lose because of that, and then Io and Kai beat the hell out of Bayley, and then you have a mid-card women's feud come off the back of that. And Bianca moves on to whatever's next for her, which is probably inevitably a SummerSlam loss against Charlotte.
I'm curious if either of you guys are going to come close to this. I was looking up some information. Counting Royal Rumbles and Battle Royals, guess how many TV or pay-per-view matches Zelina Vega has had in her entire history of WWE, including NXT?
She barely wrestled in NXT. If she did wrestle in NXT, she only wrestled like once or twice.
Once,
not including like
only one match.
If you're not doing house shows or anything like that, yeah. So in terms of total matches across her entire thing of WWE, I would say.
Keep in mind she's been there for. So she was her first match at the very least was April 2018.
Yeah, she was released for about a year of that as well, though, so you have to take that in mind. But I imagine she's probably had about 25 matches on TV, some sort of televised thing.
What's your guess, Rob?
Well, really?
I'm going to say just under 50 and go with 47.
All right, so you guys are selling her short a little bit. 64 matches.
Okay, that's all televised, right?
Yeah, but I mean that, like I said, that counts. Royal Rumbles. There's
okay, yeah.
You know, there's a mixed 18-man tag team match on SmackDown that had like Naomi, Shelton Benjamin, Andrade, R-Truth, the Hardy Boys.
When
like,
did that happen?
Yeah, that's April 2019. I have no idea where EC3 and Heavy Machinery and all these people come in. That's maybe it's got to be some like mixed match challenge thing or something. But
it was the build up to because they did 2 battle royals that year, WrestleMania, didn't they, for the women's and the men's? So I think it was a build up for both of those.
That makes sense.
Weird. But yeah, the majority of her matches are on SmackDown, and the vast majority of her matches are losses, of course. I don't see what her win-loss record is currently for like her overall WWE, but it's not good. And that kind of already spells disaster when it comes to that anyway. But you put her against Rhea Ripley, you put her against who the company just chose to win the title at WrestleMania and all that. Nothing is working towards Zelina here. So the only question is whether or not they do some kind of tricky thing with Io beating Bianca, but I think that's bridge too far as it is too. So,
but again, I'm gonna make this point again. Doesn't matter. She's losing the belt anyway. It'll be a new lineage anyway. If there was ever a time, it's right now, and there's a storyline purpose for why Io should beat Bianca.
It would be funny for them to be like, okay, well, Io beats Bianca, and then she has to swap the belt with Rhea, and now we can refer to her as a 2-time world champion. Because they count those. That's like, we've seen with the Street Profits switching the belts. It's like, okay, well, now you've got another championship reign to your name. So
it would help. It sounds convoluted, but it would help if they just said, listen, if Rhea Ripley wins, she's the Raw Women's Champion. And then if Zelina wins, she faces whoever wins between Bianca and Io, and that's the new SmackDown champion. Like, it would help because you're not going to go that far. Zelina's not going to win, and then you can just say that Bianca and Io is a SmackDown Women's title match. In fact, they could even start the show with Rhea and Zelina, and then have Adam say, "All right, give me the SmackDown belt because Bianca and Io is now SmackDown Women's title match." There's no reason that it shouldn't be. They're both SmackDown superstars.
Well, ultimately, we know the reason why it won't. And that's because in their mind, they would go, why would we have somebody who announce the logic behind this on a pay-per-view if we can promote Monday Night Raw as being, we will address the Raw and SmackDown women's title situation and then try to get people to tune in.
But if you believe what they said about it being a hard brand, but Bianca will not be on Raw, like that's
where they get into the hypocritical thing where they go, yeah, but it doesn't. Our own rules don't apply to us for this thing, and then that's the shut up and be a good fan and shut your mouth kind of thing that they do all the time. Same as when they will just decide here and there they're going to move people from this draft. You're going to see like a Rick Boogs pop up on Monday Night Raw, and they're going to be like, look at that. He's over here because isn't that fun? Then you're going to go, what's the logic behind this? Then they're going to go, anyway, the new pay-per-view is sponsored by Skittles or something. And it is what it is. But yeah, you would think that with the titles being up the way that they are with the draft and the fact that they are the top 2 titles and everything, that the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships would be in better, higher quality value matches, I should say. Not necessarily better matches, because I'm sure like Bianca and Io are going to have a fine match and all. But just because the crowd's going to be hot for Zelina doesn't mean she's winning. And anybody who's like, yeah, and now it's the time, they're going to put the belt on her. Don't get your hopes up. You're going to be disappointed. Rhea's winning. Bianca's winning. We're all in agreement there. So let's talk about that 6-man tag team match. The Bloodlines, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and Solo Sikoa against the team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and their new best bro, Matt Riddle, who wants to spend all the time in the world with them now that they're all on Monday Night Raw. We will talk again about this on the hot tags, but no addressment whatsoever of the SmackDown and Raw tag team titles. And a friend of mine was like, oh, doesn't that mean that they will potentially just lose the belts? Like do like a kind of weird double pin finish or something? I was like, no, it's not on the line here or anything. That was the thing on SmackDown. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. So it's like, there's a lot of confusion with the more casual audience of not paying attention to how the draft works and all, or the pay-per-view card necessarily.
With the diehard audience.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But this match means absolutely nothing whatsoever. There is nothing on the line here. The belts are not held into some kind of like Freebird rule or whatever. There is not a number one contenders thing. There's nothing stating that if Jimmy and Jay end up beating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn here, that they get another shot at the belts. There is nothing happening here except for let's get the Bloodline on the card in some way and let's just have a match. It's just a filler match. So Riddle, Owens, and Zayn win because you got to push this whole Solo Sikoa is the enforcer that is taking out his vengeance of Roman Reigns out on the Usos thing. I don't know why they're telling that story again and why we are just circling back to what we've done before other than...
Because they didn't have Cody Rhodes win at WrestleMania.
I mean, probably that's part of it. Probably is that they just really like this story because they've really been harping on that. Like originally it was the Jay stuff, and then it was the Jimmy stuff, and then it was the Sami Zayn stuff. So their idea of the Bloodline story is we want this dominant group headed by Roman, and we want there to constantly be friction within the group. So the way to do that is Jimmy and Jay have to lose this.
Essentially, in terms of maybe taking it too far, it's like the new corporation Mr. McMahon angle, where it's like it worked really well when Austin was doing it at first, and then their answer to everything for several years later was just, I don't know, have evil heel team with McMahon against beloved babyface, and it got old. This match very well could have been the main event of the show if Cody had won and you just swap Cody for Riddle, and then there you go. Like, it's just, hey, we're going to Puerto Rico and we're going to do this match because the stuff coming off WrestleMania is still hot, and this is the backlash of all that. Instead, it's a lot of people now going, why is Riddle here? I'm kind of like, we saw the crowning moment. I'm good. I don't really need to see them with the will they, won't they still, because we're good. The saving grace of all this is Paul Heyman and his wonderful acting. Like, he's going to send Solo to absolutely murder his brothers for failing Roman Reigns. However, this match doesn't matter because they're on separate brands, and the only thing that will matter is on Friday, the 12th, when Roman returns, and what direction do they want to go there? I think babyfaces win because why not? It sets up the Usos for more punishment, and move on.
Yeah, the Bloodline stuff is now giving me very heavy NWO vibes. Of there was a exact moment where it should all ended, or at least the thing will should have been set in motion for it all to just fall apart in the span of a nice little compact 3 to 6 month period. But it just keeps dragging on and on and on, and it's got to the point where every single result is the same. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll get to the point with that they did with NWO stuff matches in WCW, where beyond around about like 98 onwards, you basically, whenever an NWO match is happening, half the crowd is looking up the entryway because they know someone's coming down at some point to interfere and cause a DQ or break up this match in some way. And that's what every Bloodline match is now. It's just waiting for whoever is not in the match to do interference, which is funny because in this match, obviously, Roman's not showing up. So who's actually going to do the interference for the Bloodline? I don't know. Is this where how you bring in Zion Quinn because he's, got Samoan in him?
You know what?
Samoan ghost.
You know what? In all seriousness, I'm not saying they're going to bring Zion Quinn and put him with the Bloodline, but since you brought him up, I think he's going to be the most beneficial. He's going to be the Alexa Bliss of the men's draft for this year. I think they're going to use him very well on SmackDown.
It would be funny if they have him just come out though and they're like, you look a little like Roman. You got like the same build. You're a handsome guy, whatever. Grow your hair out. You could be replacement Roman the way that like Mason Ryan was replacement Batista.
Was Welsh Batista?
Yeah.
It's almost like the only reason why I think the babyfaces will win because the Bloodline, at least at this moment in time, have nobody that can interfere on their behalf. So, yeah, I mean, the argument for the Bloodline winning is because they still got Solo Sikoa on their team, and Solo very rarely loses matches. So, like, he legitimately on the main roster TV or just on the main roster in general, both on house shows and on TV, has only lost to Cody Rhodes. So, I think that, that would be the only thing. Obviously, he wouldn't be taking the pin if they do lose. It would be one of the other two. But realistically, what is really the benefit for one of the other three winning? They're already the tag team champions. That's not going to change as a result of this. And Riddle, I guess it'll give Riddle somewhat of a springboard if they do decide to put him into the tournament for the World Championship. He's not going to be fighting Roman. So, yeah, I guess I'll just go the babyfaces winning because it draws a line under the Usos for the time being challenging for the tag titles unless they decide that they're going to split the tag titles in some way. And then, and then Riddle will go into the tournament to determine who will be fighting for the title at Night of Champions. And do not think he will go far in it.
No, I don't think he's going to go that far either. But the weird situation with those tag titles means, I mean, they not only haven't replaced the belts, which is like, it's been like 8 years or something that these have been the only belts without side plates and this old design that everybody hated from the beginning. And this is easily the longest that they've ever had the same championship belt design too. So somebody really fucking loves those Sentinel heads. And this, like, if it's not going to be a penny, damn it, then it's going to be a nickel,
Well,
but
it's not. They had the one that the New Age Outlaws and all of them held. They had those since 85, from 85 to 02. It's a little longer, but this is very close.
Well, isn't that a different design with the WWE Tag Team Championship and the World Tag Team Championship and all that? Didn't they change it up?
No, but I'm saying, like, they kept, outside of like removing some nickel plating, they kept the same general shape.
Yeah, this is when did this copper
2010
thing? 2010. So I mean, 13 years for the ugliest championships. Oh my god! But they never addressed it, and we got to assume that it's going to continue to be exactly the same that it was, leading into the draft and all. That they, for some reason, just want to keep these guys holding 2 sets of championships and to have them go between the brands, and that means that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can just head on over to SmackDown and continue to fight Jimmy and Jay if they want to beat that dead horse. I don't understand the purpose for that other than you're feeling like you just can't move on because you're worried that that's too, like, oh, that was interesting. Why would we kill it right now? Even though you've got nothing else to say. I mean, Sami keeps saying the same thing to Jimmy and Jay, and it's just like, yeah, you spent 9 months building up into this, and then you reached the end point, and now you're just continuing to repeat the same things you did prior to Mania. I don't know if this is over with them in the Bloodline, but this should at the very least be the last time that we see these teams up against each other. So
it has to be over after this.
I would like some finality. I would like to see Jimmy and Jay do something else. I would like to see the tag team titles be defended with like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against Imperium or any other tag team other than the Usos, for that matter. I love the Usos. Don't get me wrong. They're fantastic, but move on, do something different. You know, getting a little tired of reruns. So,
I mean, and I don't say this a lot, but I saw a great tweet from Ryan Satin that said, it's amazing how quickly a wrestling storyline can take that step from perfect to, oh, no, this is too far, this is too much. Because exactly a month ago, it was the perfect ending for the tag team story. And this entire month has been retread after retread to the point where Kevin and Jimmy are almost acting like the fans, where they're like, why are you still talking to this guy?
Yeah.
Like, this is over. We did this. But they know where they want to go, and they're circling the drain because they just want Roman to hit 1,000. I know everybody's saying Roman keeps it till Mania, and I wouldn't be surprised either. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they just go, cool, he hit it. We can start thinking about how the fuck we're going to get it off of him and move on.
Oh, after the draft, we'll get more into this on Friday. I think Roman's beating Hogan's record. I think he's keeping it until September of next year.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he's losing it at Mania 40 either.
I can't imagine it, but we'll see.
I fully expect that to be the case at this point. I think that he's going to fight The Rock at Mania 40 and beat The Rock, and then he's just going to keep it after that too. But we don't have Roman on the card. Instead, we've got two potential main events here. The San Juan Street fight and the Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar match. I think there is a good chance that if they want to end this pay-per-view on a high note, that they end it with the San Juan Street fight. And it sounds a little crazy when people will be like, why would you put that over Cody versus Brock? And it's like, well, it's because Bad Bunny's in it. He was the big draw heading into this before you knew anything else. It's a match that I'm expecting won't be the main event, but I'll just lay my cards on the table here. We'll talk about both at the same time, I guess. I expect Bad Bunny to beat Damian Priest. I think that Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, the whole LWO versus Judgment Day thing is going to carry over here. And we're basically going to see the LWO against the Judgment Day. It's a street fight. They can have everybody interfere. We can have Cruz del Toro get thrown into a table. We could have Dominic Mysterio get, smacked in the head with a kendo stick from Rey Mysterio, like whatever it might be. You could get Zelina and you could get Rhea Ripley on this. I think Bad Bunny is almost guaranteed to beat Damian Priest and to celebrate. And I think that could be the end of the show, because I think that there's a really, really good chance that Brock Lesnar beats Cody Rhodes. And between those two, if I'm booking it, if they go Brock Lesnar beating Cody, I would rather have Bad Bunny celebrating with the LWO at the end of this Puerto Rico show than to have the show end with Brock Lesnar beats Cody in 8 minutes. And it's just, well, yeah, Cody lost at Mania and he lost here too. Isn't that depressing? Well, tune in to Night of Champions.
I agree. I had seen a report, I think it was Work Wrestling, that said, yeah, Priest and Bunny, they might main event. And they're angling to make it the main event. And look, let's throw wrestling out the window for a minute. There's only one person on this card who's at the fucking Met Gala last night. Like, might be legitimately the biggest star in the world and a legitimate pop culture like phenom right now. Yeah,
I got a feeling you're not talking about Omos here.
I might have Bad Bunny close my fucking show too. Hell, I'd have him. Hey, can we get you in Saudi Arabia? You want to fight Roman Reigns? Like, I would have this fucking guy on everything I do because he's legitimately the biggest star in the world.
That's so crazy to me. I remember when he came out with the Booker T thing, and I was like, "Who the fuck's Bad Bunny?" Because I just don't tap myself into musical artists to begin with. Like I was listening to some song the other day and talking to Caroline, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I have that song in my collection." I don't know who does it, but so it's just, and then he is just like a super huge star. So it's like, maybe you might want to start the event with the Brock thing, and then Brock can go the fuck home if he wants to. That's a regular thing, right?
I mean, I feel for Cody. Because let's just get it out of the way. I do also think Brock Lesnar is probably going to beat him. Because I think they are so gung-ho on this buzzword of adversity that but Cody came in and he beat everybody. That's not cool. Are you fucking serious? I won't get hot again. It's been a month. But, it's ridiculous. And I hope it's a good match. I hope it's an ODQ. I hope someone says, you make it a fucking ODQ match so Brock can swing some chairs and it'll be fun to watch. It's going to be fun, but I just don't see Cody winning. And honestly, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. Because the only thing that's going to matter is the next night and who's going after the world title.
Well, he did say, I got to finish the story or whatever. And it's like, you're not beating Roman. You're on the opposite brand as him. Unless you won Money in the Bank and you go over to SmackDown, that's not going to be the thing.
There's a way to do it, but it's it'd require a lot of logic and foresight, and I don't know if they're thinking that way. You just simply have Cody say, I'm glad Raw has a fighting world champion. I would be honored to win it, but right now I'm focused on finishing the story, and because I got fucked at WrestleMania, I'm able to declare myself for Money in the Bank. Done. It really is that simple, but whether or not they go that route remains to be seen.
Well, are you thinking more Cody beats Brock to earn his way back to that number one contender spot, or are you more in the Brock's going to beat Cody because we got to beat him down?
Yeah, I'm more in the Brock's going to beat Cody because literally people that work for the company have gone on podcast and said, but it's not fun if he just beats everybody. Okay, whatever. Road dog. What the fuck did you do in your career, pal? What singles run did you? It's that shit has really pissed me off because they have everyone from Austin to Road Dogg to Foley to everyone they can get in front of a mic going, yeah, but you got to give them adversity. What the fuck does that even mean?
Or you could be Kevin Nash and say, 950 is so close to 1,000. Just give them the 50 days, and it's damn it, those numbers.
Yeah, and then you're Kevin Nash, and at least that's more honest than, well, it's not fun if Cody Rhodes beats everybody. But I genuinely believe that they've convinced themselves it's not fun if Cody Rhodes beats everybody, so he won't be winning here.
So we're going to look at this now in terms of, the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. We've already mentioned that. That's going to be fun. So just be a load of bodies flying around, going through loads of tables, chair shots, canes, everything that you can think of. And Bad Bunny will win, but it'll be mired in some kind of controversy so you can keep Priest looking somewhat strong. But yeah, I could definitely see that main eventing because he's the biggest star in all of wrestling right now because he's one of the biggest stars in just the world right now.
Yes.
So the fact that he's willing to do that and will probably take table bumps and all that stuff in this match is going to be pretty wild. So they should count their blessings that he's a wrestling fan because that's the biggest drawing point probably of this entire card is the fact that he's going to be competing on it in front of his home crowd. Brock and Cody's the more interesting one from just an ongoing perspective. As a somewhat who's obviously wanted the result to go a different way at WrestleMania and is now just unleashing the sadomasochistic side of my head, just thinking, oh, this should be the one night where Brock just says, yeah, I think I should go over. Just because I've always held, and I think I personally think this is accurate, that Brock is not a type of guy that goes and says, yeah, I should beat this guy. I don't think Brock really cares that much as long as he's getting paid. But if this was the one time that Brock went and said, yeah, me losing here doesn't really work for me, and they just go along with it, it would just find it hilarious at that point. I think that I still think Brock is going to win, but I think that's leading into the fact that you're going to do a rematch at Night of Champions between Brock and Cody, so Cody gets the win back. That means that you basically continue this feud up until then. You have this keeps Cody out of the running of the tournament, so he's not competing for the world title tournament, and then it just means that he can parlay immediately into Money in the Bank, qualifying for that. And then you could potentially move into the Roman thing for SummerSlam if that's what you wish to do. I'm not convinced that is what they're planning on doing. But I think that the only thing that I'm aware of, or at least in my mind right now, is what they're going to do is they're going to have Brock win here and Cody win the other one. There'll be 1-on-1 at that point. I don't think they'll do like a rubber match anytime soon, but you can always go back to that and say, oh, they've got one victory apiece over each other, so if Cody ever does win the World Championship, you can just have an immediate match lined up between those two for it. But yeah, that's all I'm kind of thinking of right now is up to that point. Beyond that point is I don't think they know what they're doing, so I'm not going to predict it at that point. So yeah, my predictions are the Bad Bunny defeats Damian Priest due to a lot of interference and shenanigans going on everywhere else, and then Brock beats Cody.
I actually really like the way that Callum has added that. I agree. If you just have Brock and Cody 2 in Saudi, he keeps Brock out of the world title thing. He keeps Cody out of the world title thing. And he can literally say, nope, I'm just going to beat Brock Lesnar. And then it's right back to finish the story. And that's how you get around the Money in the Bank. And then if you need the rubber match, and Roman wants to fuck off and miss SummerSlam, but you don't need Roman, you got Brock. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's actually a good way to go. Brock wins, and Bad Bunny should win in the main event of the show.
But that also, if you have Cody win Money in the Bank and he's supposed to beat Roman prior to SummerSlam, how does he beat Roman prior to SummerSlam? Where?
SmackDown
when?
In Madison Square Garden. I've said this like 50 times.
When is that?
In July, like July 12th or something.
Oh, okay, so it's in between those. I thought it was June something or other.
It's literally he wins Money in the Bank, says right when he's going to do it, where he's going to do it. You build to a major match on Fox. Roman can fuck off. And we have two fighting world champions. That's the way I'd do it at this point.
If that ends up happening, then I will. I won't say that I would be like, oh, it was all worth it and all. But at the very least, if that ends up being their plan, that they had been like, oh, we're going to execute this down the line, I'll finally start giving WWE credit for the whole wait until it all pans out because we've got an idea and trust us. We're telling a story here with an actual conclusion. Because I just don't buy into that shit. So
I wouldn't give them credit if that was their idea because it's stupid.
it is still a stupid idea.
But at least it would prove that they would have like. It might not be the best idea, but it would be like, oh, you
long-term thinking. It wouldn't show that they're any good at their job still.
Yeah, but at least I'd be like, okay, they aren't just completely bullshitting me. But I don't think that's happening. So I just think that Brock is going to beat Cody because. Isn't it more interesting if Cody loses? And, well, don't you want the babyface that you can't ever really trust is going to win anything? Damn it. What did you like? Hogan and Cena and Austin and Roman? The guys that won every single one of those matches? Ridiculous. I don't know why they think that that's the case. But I am officially putting my prediction in there. Bad Bunny beats Damian Priest and Brock Lesnar beats Cody Rhodes. How about you guys?
Bad Bunny beats Damian Priest. Brock Lesnar beats Cody Rhodes.
Bad Bunny beats Damian Priest. Brock Lesnar defeats Cody Rhodes.
How do you guys think is going to be the end of it? Do you think it's going to be Brock and Cody, or do you think it's going to be the Bad Bunny match? I think it's going to ultimately be the Bad Bunny match.
No, I think it should be Bad Bunny.
I think they'll still do Brock and Cody because even though Bad Bunny's probably the biggest star out of all of them in that market. I still think that Brock's a babyface whenever he goes anywhere outside of the US. So I think that they'll still consider that if he wins. It won't be like a flat ending to the show.
Hey, maybe they could have Cody afterward grab a microphone and be like, "Hey, Bad Bunny, you want to come out and sing with me?" That dumbass Clash at the Castle ending. Well, that is Backlash, at least as far as Tuesday afternoon. If they announce anything prior to the pay-per-view, of course, there will be updates on smarkoutmoment.com. If we have anything that happens on SmackDown, for instance, then that'll be just on there. But if they say anything prior to the hot tags, then we'll address that on there. I highly doubt that anything on NXT tonight is going to factor in whatsoever to Backlash. They have to figure out what they're doing with 3 of their women's champions not being a part of the brand anymore, and the people that are challenging the tag team champions also not being a part. So it's like, hey, I'm going to fight you for the right to immediately vacate the belt. Just so fucking dumb.
It also shows the pettiness in character or out of character. Like, it shows the fucking pettiness of Kaden and Katana being like, you're not taking that belt away from NXT. Hey guys, you got drafted. We don't care what happens to the NXT tag titles. We're going to Raw.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That stuff we'll talk about in the hot tags as well and all. But we also have some other stuff coming your way this week. One of them being a bonus main event of the Fantasy League draft. We are going to be picking our teams, or at least the initial teams, before we have things that change it up a little bit. And we're going to do that tomorrow, meaning Wednesday afternoon. Not exactly sure what time we're going to get started. Probably around like the 3 o'clock range, right, guys?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that'll probably be the time we usually do it. So
yeah, so we're going to do that live on the YouTube channel. And that's all the more reason why you should have your notifications set up, so that way you know when we are live for that. And if you are able to join us for that, then definitely hop in there, because you might be able to influence our picks. You know, we're going to be picking live. So if somebody's like, man, you really, really should probably pick this guy or something, we might go, you know what? Yeah, screw it. I'll just pick that person. Or, you know, I really think that Bayley's winning that title. We might go, yeah, or I'll pick Bayley, like, whatever it might be. So we are going to do that. We are also going to be recording next week's main event and kind of knocking that out a little bit in advance. Of course, it's next week is going to be when it's going to be published. So you're not going to hear that quite yet. We're going to have the hot tags after that. But that is the next couple of things that we have lined up for this. And at least as far as Smark Out Moment is concerned, you can find all that stuff on smarkoutmoment.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Smark Out Moment. Make sure you are hopping over to the Blue brand, though. You know, we have that whole red and blue brand split thing when it comes to WWE and the draft and all. Well, you got that on Smark Out Moment and Fanboys Anonymous as well. Fanboysanonymous.com is where you can find all the geek culture stuff that I do. So, been watching lots of movies, been trying to work on my end of the year lists and everything. I watched, over the course of these past couple weeks, I've watched all 3 Beverly Hills Cop movies. I watched The Lost Boys. I watched The Goonies finally. I watched Dead Man Walking the other day, which is not at all following that trend of these 80s comedy kind of things and all. But I got Guardians of the Galaxy coming up on Thursday night. I'll probably do some sort of review on that. I was thinking about maybe doing another one of my predicting the plot things for that, but I've kind of run out of time and I don't think I really need to put that up now. I might still do it, try to knock that out tonight or something, but stay tuned to fanboysanonymous.com for that stuff at the very least. And also stay tuned to more updates on the Blueprint Project. If you don't know what that is by now, you haven't been listening to the podcast. But if you are brand new, that is my epic means of trying to take the entire history of certain characters and to condense them into the most compact, best gold standard blueprint Bible of them. So the full history of the Superman character and every character within every adaptation and everything. Same for Spider-Man, same for X-Men and all that. Star Wars, James Bond, Ninja Turtles, blah, blah, blah. But the 2 that I've worked the most on are Absolute Power Rangers, a Mighty Morphin Epic. Find some information about that over on the YouTube channel for Fanboys Anonymous. And you can check out the latest chapter of The Batman, a Nighttime Story, 100 Records from the Wayne Foundation Archives, which dives into the whole story of Bruce Wayne leaving Gotham, deserting his hometown, and traveling the world and learning those skills that he's going to learn to become the Batman. So if you want to know how he trains with the 10-Eyed Brotherhood, or you want some information on the Asian era or the Northeast era or whatever it might be. I'm not going to spoil much here. You got to go and check out that video. Also, go ahead to anthonymango.com or amangotree.com, and you can see all the different social media accounts and different things on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and the Letterboxd, the thing, and Patreons and LinkedIn's and all for Smark Moment, A Mango Tree, Tony Mango, Fanboys Anonymous. It's all there. So go to anthonymango.com, like and follow and share and subscribe, do all that good stuff, and make sure you're doing the same stuff for Robin Kelm.
Yep, you can check out me at Dude Felice on all the social media platforms. And we always appreciate any of the support you give us. And as always, dudefelice.com is forever coming soon. But Callum's got some cool shit happening as well, don't you, Callum?
I mean, cool's a stretch, but you can find me on Twitter, Wingmaster14. Nothing cool going on there. It's Twitter. Nothing cool happening on Twitter.
Not anymore.
No. Or ever, potentially. But
you guys clearly aren't following those people that think that every Elon Musk tweet is some sort of thing about how the moon's not real.
Although it has been sort of like entertaining to watch some trolls try and argue why AEW getting 35,000 tickets sold at All In is somehow a bad thing.
What? What's the argument there?
Well, they'll find something. It's like, it's because they hadn't been to the UK before, so it's just doing it. Oh, WWE could sell that out twice as quickly. They just haven't done it yet because why not?
I don't know why people take this stuff so seriously to the point where they need to defend these companies with their lives. Like, settle the fuck down. Like,
yeah, but enough about that. You can also check out the power rankings over at smarkoutmoment.com. So that's my weekly contribution where I rank the superstars that I don't watch on TV, that I read about. And then, as Tony mentioned, the Fantasy League will be returning, kicking off with the first points being scored at Backlash. And then, so to find out all about our teams and the rules of this new iteration of the Fantasy League, then you should be tuning in for tomorrow's show.
Definitely do, everybody. Definitely stay tuned to the hot tags following that as well. And of course, also stay tuned to the Backlash Pay-Per-Viewpoint post show immediately following the pay-per-view, where we will be doing the coverage. We'll talk about what was good, what was bad, what question marks we've got, how are they possibly going to undo this damage type of things that they don't really do. Hopefully, at the very least, it ends with a better ending than we did with the last Pay-Per-Viewpoint post show of the WrestleMania stuff. We don't know until it happens, so stay tuned. All that coverage is happening on smarkoutmoment.com. We'll see you there. But for now, this has been another Smark Out Moment, and we are being counted out.